Hello everybody, welcome back or to Inner Cosmetics. Looking forward to another enlightening conversation because just talking things out with yourself is just, that's just what happens. And this is an encouragement to talk with yourself, specifically about those negative conversations in the past. I know I was at a place where I was always suppressing those and labeling them as negative. I would suppress those negative things that just surface. You're not worthy, you know. Do you even know your purpose in life? Just things that would just come up, right? And I think that even served me for where I was suppressing those feelings. Or maybe a better term is instead of suppressing, overriding those feelings with something that was considered more positive. Oh, don't listen to that voice. You know, you are worthy. Don't listen to that voice. You do have purpose. And that does serve. But what's beautiful about this cycle of life, that it is a cycle. And I say that because while in the past, that definitely served me, overriding those negative thoughts with something more positive, where I am now, I notice that they have come back. They have returned. And I'm not looking at them as negative. I see them as a child that might be having a tantrum. And what do? We don't step over the kid and, just be like, it'll figure it out. The child will figure it out. I'm going to ignore that behavior. Sometimes for myself, I'll say ignoring things is because I don't understand it. I don't know how to approach it. I'm not sure how to address it. So I will coat over it with something that I want to see that I deem more positive. But where I am now, and I think that's what happens when you are ascending, that same thing that you put aside before, it comes back up. But now with your new level of awareness and consciousness, you're not looking at it in the same manner. It's a totally new light that's shining on it, right? And so this negative thought had come up where I saw this individual going out the door all polished and dressed, in my neighborhood. And I had a moment of like, wow, we can let's use the word envy. Wow, they just have it all together. Now this is just by observing someone going out the door all dressed up, assuming for work, have it all together. And when I felt that, and now that feeling crept in where I don't have it all together. But I didn't suppress that. I said, let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. And it really is a conversation with yourself. It's going to be the best conversations that you ever have. And so you're feeling envy. Why is that? Because they look so sure. They know where they're going. They know what they're doing. They're dressed. It's okay. So if you're feeling that about that individual, means you're not feeling that about yourself, right? You're not feeling sure. You're feeling uncertain. That envy, that's where that's stemming from. And let's talk about that. And you know what's so funny? It was such a wholesome conversation because it was like talking to a friend. Ultimately, I think that's a big part of why we're here, is to learn to be friends with ourselves. And I think part of being friends and part of ascending is not labeling any thoughts that we have as, that's the post office downstairs, or the post office man. Doesn't seem very happy right now, delivering the mail. But, it could be that part of ourselves that isn't actually negative at all. It's a fertilizer that's being offered, and then we can meet it without duality and step forward and say, I hear you, I see you, let's talk about it. It will be one of the most beautiful conversations that you'll ever have, and you'll leave walking away grateful that you didn't even label that anymore. You heard it out. And that's what talking with self is. Allowing yourself to cultivate all of who you are, all of the thoughts. There's nothing to suppress about yourself. Not one thing. They're just things to be heard and to be at a place consciously that you're able to hear them out without judgment. And that's the part of expansion that is really beautiful when you can fall into that space. So this is my encouragement to you, to have these conversations with yourself, no matter what the thought might be, to hear it out, not to label it as bad or good or whatever it is. Just give it its space and just get ready to be motivated and inspired by what that voice has to say, because as you continue breaking it down and getting to the root of each feeling, of everything that it's bringing forward, and you question it and say, well, why? Where is that coming from? What? You're going to be absolutely amazed at what unfolds. So just wanted to share that with you, to learn about, to remember about loving every aspect of ourselves. This is what it's about, loving and hearing it all out, because that's how we're going to continue growing. All right, guys, always love our conversations. Until next time, stay blessed.